So video 2 of the day. Vlog 2. Woo! Topic was I'll just show you some trees until I remember. Love trees. All sides. Okay, so I can't think and show you trees. Oh yeah, background. Who am I? Where did I come from? Why am I starting? What am I doing? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what brought you to this video, but I'm in the midst of starting a project, and this is a bit of background about me. So there'll be another video somewhere about the project more. Okay, so the reason why I'm starting this project is I sort of suffered immensely as a kid in the education system. Grew up in Australia, and for diverse reasons, I never really liked going, and even I think starting as early as 10. Always had to. It was really difficult for my mum, especially, to always get me out of bed. I'd be hiding. There's times I remember in like high school where we used to carpool with a friend, and I was hiding, and I told Mum I'm not going, and then she didn't cancel the carpool. Hello. She didn't cancel the carpool, and then my friend came, and Mum was like, go find him, and I was like super embarrassed, like hiding. And I remember we had a 2-story house, we have this house called Queenslanders. It's like a 2-story sort of thing, and underneath, it's just open space. I think that's to cool them down, also stop them from flooding. And I could be completely wrong on that. So I was in the 2nd story, and I remember climbing out of the window and I was like, I'm going to the bathroom, and I climbed out of the window and ran and hid in the backyard and this was so embarrassing. I mean, it was like the first year of high school. I just absolutely hate it. And I would always ask, hey, why do I have to go? And unfortunately, I never could get good answers from why do I have to study this subject? The respect for the student and the intrinsic motivations that we as individuals have is so lacking. You're part of the system. I don't hear things like this, right? You're part of the system, and you need to, you're gonna have to get a job and earn money later on. So suck it up and do your 12 years of study or whatever. And it's like, I don't even know what I want to do. Like, why? And all of this sort of stuff gets totally ignored, right? Or people try and answer, but it didn't satisfy me. So most people haven't really thought about this themselves, so I don't blame them, but it was just very, very dissatisfying as a child. Also, why do I have to study math? For me, I think an educator, the main goal, of any person who's teaching anything, and even myself, right? If I'm talking to you with the intent of having you walk away a little bit smarter or to give me feedback, is to try and get you motivated in what I'm talking about. Otherwise, it's just, I don't know, manipulative and disrespectful in a way. And that doesn't really happen, that doesn't really work very well with a group of people, right? You need to know where everyone's level's at, what motivates them. Anyway, I'm digressing. Very annoyed at the system, and I was always like, one day I want to change this thing, because I don't want to, I fucking complain about it a lot, and I don't want to just do the same to my potential family or other people, like friends. I complain about it a lot, and I want to take that seriously. Fast forward, I had a lot of turmoil in my life, some very serious depression, other range of events, which have proven to actually be very, useful now, in terms of growth and knowledge about the world, but very challenging at the time. So yeah, I end up joining this company called ThoughtWorks. Yeah, I'll elaborate a bit on the history. So I end up sort of getting depressed around 15, dealing with things like suicide. I slowly get my way out of that without getting any help. At 17, I didn't even know what depression was, or that I had it, like just totally oblivious to all of that. Sort of got out in a new environment, started to fix some of these things. Sort of relapsed into that in my mid-20s. I'd been studying mechanical engineering in Germany at university, and that was also, I don't know, like education system, I tell you, sort of for various reasons, not just the education system, right? That's just one part of it. But yeah, I sort of relapsed, and I was teaching myself programming at the time, and I was like, look, I enjoy this programming thing. I'm going to when you get really depressive and at a point of, suicidal, often what happens is your body, as a last resort, right? Like you start to take risks to change things. And it also feels amazing because you're so hollow and empty inside. When you take adrenaline as this form of it's a hit. It's something that it's a feeling, you're alive. So yeah, it can be dangerous, those risks as well. They don't always take people in healthy directions, unfortunately. But yeah, I ended up saying hey, look, I just quit my university, nothing in sight, and was able to luckily get a job at not the place I wanted. Again, at ThoughtWorks, the company I'm at now, I could really feel through the meetups, the way people thought and the way they were, it just felt right to me. Unfortunately, they didn't accept me at the time. And then 2 years later, which was again having a 2 years experience at another company where they, on the outside, present a lot of the same values, and the implementation, very different. A lot of people talk buzzwords, right? Agile and bleep bloop bloop, and everyone will implement that a little bit different. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting learning experience. Anyway, so I end up at ThoughtWorks, and they have this interview process, which is changing from time to time, but I think we still have it. This social justice interview where you talk about some problem or something you see in society, why diversity in the tech field, whatever it is that people want to talk about. And for me, it was this topic of education, and I still didn't see it at the time, right? This was the thing in my heart that I wanted to work on. I was so blinded by, I need to get a degree, I need to be successful, I have to have money, blah, 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 all this stuff that people sell you on. And the whole time ignoring the fact that living this way is making me totally miserable. Not respecting my needs or what I'm interested in. I didn't even know anymore. And so 2 years in now, at ThoughtWorks, and I start, some of my colleagues start giving me some feedback. Hey, you're coming late to meetings. You're getting a bit, we're a bit worried about you. You should take some time off. And I'm like, it's actually really hard to recognize when you need help and when you need to look inward. And I was like, all right, I'll take a week. And then I started to just, for the first time in, I don't even know when, years, really every day did what I wanted to do, what my body needed. A holidays, you haven't learned how to really do that, right? There's always in your head, you need to go back to work, or it's no, it wasn't, I'm doing this thing to go to uni or to get a job or make money for whatever purpose, just to make money because I need it. It's no, look, every day I just try and disconnect from all of the things that pull my attention, take notice of the habits, listen to the feelings that come up in the body. Why am I feeling sad this day? What is really going on? And doing this crazy deep dive over months. And I learned a lot through that period, and what I realized was like, wow, like after I had sort of really felt substantially different and healed a lot of trauma and things in the past, and started to work on communication with other people and deepening relationships, having, you know, what people might call spiritual experiences. What I would probably call spiritual experience. It's water here. Put my feet in. Nature! Oh, it's nice and cold. It's like Wim Hof style. Get it? Yeah. Oh, the feet went straight through. Oh, I wish someone could remind me where I was. I always forget what I'm talking about. Education, thought works, healing, making progress. Sun. Super sick little water duct thing. Super nice. And trees. Lots of trees. I don't know if everyone's seen that. There's this drawing of like the lungs, and then I think the lungs are like the roots of the tree. And like they both look, it's like, yeah, they're like sort of this relationship that our lungs are the roots of the tree. If someone find them, post the image. Yeah, it's super cool. This relationship of, you know, them supporting us and we supporting them. Education, working on yourself, growth, relationships. Let me get back in here. It feels so good and cold. So we're gonna have to cut this out because it's taking ages. And then when you try and remember, like, it doesn't. It's exactly like when you focus on your breath, you know? And normally, it's the subconscious process. It works. Breathing, it's always ongoing. And then you try and force it. It's like, oh, now it's, how do you breathe normally? So, I'll just start talking about anything. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I realized, wow, this was like the thing I'd always wanted to do, and you know, didn't have any mentors or people to encourage me or push me down that road. It's a huge fucking goal. I'm going to change the education system. Like everyone's like, yeah, mate, good luck, you know. And yeah, recognizing who are the people that are good for you and know how to encourage you and say, yeah, go for it, mate. Of course, you don't want to blindly encourage. You want to be a realist, but at the same time, so many people who, yeah, I don't know, are so skeptical for no reason. Like the default mode is skepticism, and the sad part about that is, yeah, you're giving yourself reasons not to do things. It's a good defense mechanism if you don't want to see pain in the world, or if you don't want to make any change in your life. But yeah, it's very, as I think, I would definitely consider myself always a visionary type person. Way too many ideas. It's hard because, yeah, I don't know, this cynicism, like people just always giving you reasons why it's not going to work, and this is the way it is, and oh my gosh. So, yes. So that's just showing that, yeah, this is something that's been around for a while, and currently what I do is actually I see the goal of fixing, like let's say, improving this education system. That's no longer the goal. I think that's a byproduct of fixing the other things which I aim to tackle with this project, which is empowering people and individuals, as well as fixing the system we live in. So might call that the economic or monetary system. Yeah. That's sort of like the main two areas of focus, which I think will, on their own, once you start empowering individuals and getting people back to, say, their healthy, normal, full potential selves, I think we see a lot of change just naturally happen. But yeah, it's going to be fun, I think, definitely. Excited to see where this goes. Another reason I think why what gives me a very big potentiality in this, besides the fact that something I always wanted to do, is actually my dad. He started to open up, and I think it's a part of healing through my depression was, opening up the heart again. Definitely been closed off for a long time, and realizing like my dad also went through the depression in his later years, and I didn't understand why. I was quite young and didn't even know what he was really going through, right? I was like, why is Dad in bed all day? Why isn't he doing anything? And now I understand him a bit better. So he joined this cult, or church, religious movement, whatever you want to call it, the Unification Church, the Moonies. That's how my parents met. And he was definitely a person who, this idea of uniting the world in love and bring people together and get rid of the boundaries, and he loved this stuff. And so he had this property. I think he was in his, I don't know all the details of this. Like I unfortunately didn't have the closest relationship with him. He was quite busy working all the time. When he was about 40, I believe. Mum might have to correct me on this. He ends up giving all his possessions, like he had this nice block of land in Canberra, his car and everything, he gives it away to the church. He wanted to make like a peace centre there, a place for people to come and to, learn about love and life, and beautiful vision, but rather naive implementation. I definitely saw that side as a child, right? It's like, why are we so, in a financially difficult space? Why is Dad always working, even though he used to work in construction, and that gets hard, especially in Australia in the sun, and right when you're getting older and so on. And he definitely felt the burden and pressure of that. So he, and he's like, we went on to visit our family in Brazil from Mum's side. So through the church they do this thing that's called a mass wedding. So the idea is you go there with an open heart, ready to love anyone, and leader would like pick. I haven't seen videos, but I've heard, like on one side there'd be a couple thousand men, on one other side a couple thousand women, and he'd just pick and point and put you together, and the expectation was you form a life and marry this person. My dad grew up in New Zealand. I have like roots along to like 7 generations or something like crazy like that ago, from Germany and Finland, and Mum's from Brazil. I was born in Australia, so big mixed bag here. Which I think is another reason for me having grown up with people from Japanese roots, with Korean. This church was from Korea, right? Like just such a unique chance to, from a young age, connect and be open to different cultures and foods, and really be open to all sorts of people, old, young, and it's definitely a positive experience. I want to go into that experience now. I ended up leaving the church at like, I think it was 20 or 21. It took a while for me to realize like my questions are not being answered here. Like, what is love? Most people couldn't answer that. They give you some like, it's like a feeling. It didn't really satisfy me. I couldn't vibe with it at the time. So, my dad gives all his possessions away. And I'm like, you know, pretty crazy. That's how I viewed it. And going older again, as we were in Brazil, visit the family for the first time. I think it was around 14, 15, and then Dad had to come back early to work. And after that point, I think, you know, that's when he started to not do so well. And he had a dream again to get a land, to live on a land, and to have a place where people can, you know, learn and learn about peace. And he was most happy like when he was on this property and working on that. And so at the time, like, I was like one of these children, I think a lot of people in my generation, right, like very disconnected from others, you know, a lot on the computer, like you see it more and more, right, a lot of computer addiction, you know, being like, you know what, I have to go move to the land and so on, like, you know, this is so rough, and so just really not having that same level of like connection to nature or seeing the things that my dad saw, just like totally like suffering, let's say, like I want the internet, I want a computer, I want videos, consume. And yeah, I remember Dad at this time as well, he would be visiting the Aboriginal people and being interested in doing peace talks with them and like meeting up with the tribes and so on. And he invited me to go, and I never went. And yeah, reflecting like through this process of me opening my heart and connecting more to myself, and like self-love, you know, has been a huge part of that growth. Empowering yourself through self-love. Yes. I realized, like, wow, I did not, like, what a beautiful man my dad was, you know, like this. If I look at there's a Australian government apology to the Aboriginal people, you know, I think they're deep down, they definitely have the heart in the right place, but you know, this apology was written like read off a piece of paper. It was scripted. It was read to a room of white males, like not males is not the problem. Just what, there was no Aboriginals in the room. You know, they didn't go down to their level. They didn't. The wording of it was, you know, like we request that this apology is accepted. Like, yeah, it wasn't a very artistic message, let's say that much. And yeah, I think to heal these sort of wounds and connect with people, it's about getting on the artistic level and seeing people for suffering that they go through. And that's hard. And that's the only way I think we can move forward as a people, is to understand each other on that level. And so, yeah, Dad's sort of been such a huge inspiration to me, you know, like, at the beginning it was more about the education thing, and now it's like, yeah, like now I'm really blabbing on. But yeah, like this, I guess I'll just talk about the project. I think like the higher order goal here is like, hey, like I think we need to bring more love into the world, and to do that by those other two mechanisms I talked about, right? Like changing the monetary policy so that the system is a little bit more, by default, incentivizes people to do the right thing. It's a bit more aligned with human behavior, the needs, and on the opposites, yeah, and on the other side as well, working to give people tools and empowering people. So yeah, like I don't know, this idea of just tearing down these walls that we have between us, that exist. I have hypotheses about why they exist, but yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. I don't know, it's like a bit about my motivations and background, and why, yeah, I'm going like all in on this dream, this vision. So I think that's enough. Bye.